hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton is there with the camera. And we're here in the garage in the Court of Public Opinion. Thank you for joining us. We had a lot of fun on Friday. We had some very interesting guests. Professor Ian Plimer and, oh golly, who else was there?
Dick Smith?
Dick Smith was there, yeah. No, we had a good time. We're taking this coming Friday off. In fact, we won't have a show on Friday, live streaming show, jeremycordeaux.com on Friday. And we'll take Monday off as well. So we'll have Easter off. How's that, Pete?
Oh, that's good. We can go away for we can have a holiday or something.
No, I never have holidays. Our thoughts are with the Princess of Wales. That was a shock. I can't help but feel that she was kind of driven to making some sort of announcement to do away with the conspiracy theories and all the other stuff that was going on. The Princess of Wales, who has announced that she has cancer, aged 42, previously donated her hair to young people who have the disease. Kate announced in an emotional video that her diagnosis came with a huge shock, revealing that she was undergoing preventative chemotherapy treatment. Well, that's encouraging because that's preventative. It's not to deal with something that's there. The princess, whose cancer was only found following an unrelated abdominal surgery, has long been a supporter of different cancer charities. In 2018, the future Queen cut off 7 inches of her own hair to donate it to the Little Princess Trust, a charity that makes realistic wigs for children who have lost their hair through cancer treatment. Well, bless you, Your Majesty. I hope that it is all okay and it all works out all right, and that this unrelated abdominal surgery just happened to be good fortune in that you got this thing early. You got it before it could get started. Let's hope that's how it pans out. Isn't it interesting, Pete?
What?
You can have well, you can't have, there is a stairway to heaven. We were talking about this on Friday. No, you weren't there. We were talking about it on Friday. We can have a stairway to heaven, but there's a highway to hell. You're a man of music.
Yes, there is.
There's a stairway to heaven and there's a highway to hell.
Yeah.
Must mean that there are more people going to hell than there are climbing the narrow staircase to heaven.
Yes, well, that could be.
Well, it could be. It could be. Youth crime is out of control, particularly in our outback towns. Now, I've heard this for a long time. You know, Burke and Brewarrina and every outback town is kind of terrorised. And I've tried to break it down, get an analysis as to whether it's the white kids or the black kids. Not that it matters, but there seems to be a trend in outback Australia. But no, they wouldn't tell me because that would be racist to tell me. It could be racist. What absolute rubbish. Look, you can't fix a problem if you can't identify it. The latest AFL team, what do you think about that? Pete, you follow.
It's long overdue.
Long overdue, Peter.
Yeah.
Peter Clayton says it's long overdue. Tasmanian Tigers?
Yep.
Now, perhaps you can help Jane. Jane has sent me a little message here. She wants to know why there are two holes for the head in the jersey.
Who said that?
Jane. Jane, I'll come back to you later. I love Tasmania. I really do. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. If I couldn't live in Adelaide, I would definitely live in Tasmania. You know, and anyway, come on. Look, if you have two heads, wouldn't you be smarter?
Well, but they do tell stories about Tasmanian kids. I know I was living there for a while, and apparently there was one child that used to chain up to some something in the garden.
This is because they say it's all inbred or something.
Yeah.
Oh, what nonsense. I don't know. The trouble with AFL footballers with two heads would be you'd have twice the risk of concussion, wouldn't you?
Oh, that's true. Yes.
You would. Unemployment is down 4.1%, down to 3.7%. Wow. More people in work makes sense to me, but maybe not to the RBA. That drop in unemployment could delay a cut in interest rates. I know, it's counterintuitive, isn't it? Anyway, I still say, with the interest rates, 4.35% is historically low, but no, not of course if you're paying 1/10 of 1% and you're used to that. Well, how long did you think that would last? Cost of living stress and interest rates should keep spending subdued, which is what the RBA is doing. Keep the economy on track for that soft landing that we want. We don't want a recession. We're dangerously close to it. Pete, here's a question. What do you call a baby platypus?
I don't know. This is a trick question, I know, but I don't know.
No, I didn't know either.
I know, well, I don't know.
I don't know. A baby platypus. It's a puddle.
No, now that you say it, yes, I have heard that.
Why would you call a baby platypus a puddle?
Well, why would you call a baby kangaroo a joey? Where do they come up with these things?
That's the point. Anyway, they are finding platypus or platypi or whatever the plural is in places that they wouldn't have imagined they'd be there. They did try to bring them into other environmental areas, and it seems like it has worked. People have been finding puddles. Who would have thunk it? In 3 years, we have gone from not being able to find toilet paper to not being able to afford it. Go think about it. Strange world, isn't it? AEMO, this is the electricity energy regulator, says publicly we are running out of gas. Well, I, for one, am not surprised. A looming shortfall is just a few short years away, they say, they warn. 2026 will see us running out of gas. Again, we are suffering because of Labor, state and federal government hatred of fossil fuels. Now, the problem apparently is most acute in Victoria, and what can you expect? They have banned the installation of gas appliances in all new builds in Victoria. Can't do anything, I suspect, at this point anyway, with the houses that already have gas appliances. But it can't be a surprise to these idiots. Business is not going to go out and explore for gas, and they also hate the business of fracking. I don't. I mean, if farmers are prepared to let them through the gate, that's fine. That's none of my business and none of the government's business. But America is rich in gas because of fracking. That's got to be revisited. It really has to be revisited in the light of this latest information. But people aren't going to go out and explore for gas, knowing that governments have said that after a certain point in time, they do not want fossil fuels in use. They are, that is the government, the architects of their own and sadly our demise, if we let it. If we let it be. Here's an odd one. Victorian prisoners are going on strike. Don't know how they'd coordinate that from inside, but never ceases to amaze me how information is worked around inside four high walls. Prisoners going on strike over the cost of living. It seems that things are costing more at the prison canteen. We were talking about this in a rather jovial fashion around the dining room table last Friday. Pete, what do you reckon? You weren't there. So, what do you reckon the best-selling item on the shelves of the prison canteen might be?
Chocolate.
No.
Magazine?
No. Used to be cigarettes. They were sort of kind of currency that prisoners would use.
I don't know.
The answer is baby oil.
Oh, I don't want to think about that. No.
I'm surprised, frankly, they stock it. And the other thing that is the second bestseller is tins of baked beans. Now, don't think about enclosed spaces and tummy turbulence. No, the reason is that the prisoners put the can of baked beans into a sock and they use it as a sort of a weapon.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, they went on strike last year apparently and got a 4% increase in their salary. I didn't know prisoners got a salary.
No.
But prisoners apparently make all sorts of things. I think that's a useful thing to do. Something else we talked about was the Catholic University Survey of School Principals. They report that half the school principals, big survey, something like 3,000 principals, headmasters, half the headmasters will leave the profession because of violence before the end of the year. Now, I really don't understand that. When I was at school, the principal was God. He was a figure of great respect. But apparently not now. It's reached a point where these people, these principals of schools, we're talking public schools, live in fear of their lives having to wear body cam because of student violence, stopping just short, at least for the moment, just short of having to have bodyguards. Now, if that sort of finding, credible finding, doesn't start ringing alarm bells with somebody, where is society going? I find it extraordinary. And speaking of schools, what I can't understand at all is this faith-based school controversy. This is where faith-based schools will no longer be allowed to choose teachers and indeed students on the basis of their ethics or their faith. In other words, they will not be allowed to discriminate. So if you're a Catholic school and you have somebody who is vehemently against your teachings and he applies to be a teacher, you can't discriminate against him. You have to employ him or give him equal opportunity. I just don't see that. I don't understand that for one moment. And you can't tell me for a second that Les Ellicus at the dining room table on Friday brought this up, and I hadn't thought of it at the time. If you tried to say that to an Islamic school, you'd get very short shrift. You know, this is leaning towards schools that are seen to be prejudiced against LGBTIQ, for example. If an Islamic-based school, strict Islamic-based school, and that's what they are, ladies and gentlemen, if they were told by any government that they had to allow people of a very different opinion, I put it that way, and sometimes perhaps how do I put it, Pete? They're on the binary thing, and you have to employ this person as a teacher, and he or she is not a he or a she. Can you imagine the Islamic schools, as I understand them to operate, putting up with that for 1 minute, but the Christian schools apparently are going to have to do it.
No, it's not right.
No, it's not right. I mean, it's quite bizarre. I mean, if you're a Catholic school or a Church of England school, or I don't know, dare I say it, a methylated spiritualist school, and you've got people who come to you with their children, and that is how they want their children to be educated. That's the culture, or that's the ethical standards they wish imparted to their children. Well, that's fine. A huge antitrust lawsuit launched by the Department of Justice, no less. It's a 90-page document in the United States of America against Apple and their market dominance. Why? Oh, well, because they're too clever. Right? Oh, yes. And they make other products look dumb or not as attractive. Well, so what? For heaven's sake. You know, if you go out and buy an Apple, and I'm a great fan of Apple, yes, of course they will make their recharging cords the same so that you are probably encouraged to go and buy a Apple iPad along with your Apple iPhone, and so you can use the same charger. That's perfectly all right. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, you'd go and buy an Apple iPad just on the strength of the superior performance of the iPhone, wouldn't you? They're trying to say, don't be good, be successful, but don't be too good, or we'll order you to dismantle your company. Extraordinary stuff. There's a war going on between the CFMEU and the Australian Workers' Union. I don't know if you've heard about this. It's all to do with this no ticket, no start rubbish. Crap. I understood that belonging to a union was our choice. It's a free country. Belonging to a union is not compulsory. Well, apparently they have ways and means. We are still in the pockets of these compulsory unionists. Anyway, a story in the Herald Sun out of Melbourne says that we are paying billions of dollars more for infrastructure because of rivalry between these two unions. A project starts out at $10 billion, let's say, then it blows out to $18 billion, but the Labor government can't do or won't do anything about it. Who is the government looking after? Huh? Well, of course, the Labor Party. Let me tell you this. Understand it. Clear and simple. The Labor Party is funded and controlled and owned by the trade union movement, which is why one should consider carefully who he or she votes for. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. How much time have I got?
We're
Getting close.
Yes.
Well, I want to talk to you tomorrow about this World Meteorological Organization. And I'll just leave you with a little reminder. Our two great sponsors, the Rising Sun Inn on just off Kensington Road. Wonderful old pub, 1845 it was built. Lunch and dinner, best to ring, make a booking, lots of atmosphere, and it's getting cool. I mean, today was beautiful. Sun was shining, but certainly cooler today. You can tell there's a bit of winter in the air. No, well, we're in autumn, so there's autumn in the air. And the open fires are on, it's just lovely. And also, if you have any paintings that you'd like to know the value of, have a talk to Jim Elder at Elder's Fine Art. Their beautiful gallery in Melbourne Street, North Adelaide. I'll give you that telephone number. He's just wound up an online auction a couple of weeks ago, but he's looking for paintings for his auctions coming up further into the year. All you have to do is to ring Helen or Jim Elder at Elder's Fine Art on 8267, or if you're watching this in some other part of Australia, indeed the world, because we go everywhere, 088267 2869. And they are very happy at Elder Fine Art to give you an obligation-free appraisal. No pressure to sell. If you don't want to sell, you don't want to sell. It's fine. What's the date, Pete?
Got me.
Let me have a look.
It would be the 25th.
25th. I'll just go back to one date from yesterday, which struck me as worth mentioning to you. It's the date of the death of the Australian radio legend. And I've mentioned her to you before. Her name is Andrea. Until I saw this, I really didn't know what her real name was. Her real name was Dorothy Jenner, but everyone called her Andrea. She went by only one name. She died at the age of 95. And when I was working with her at 2GB, she was in her 80s. She went to Hollywood in the 1920s from Australia. She was one of Max Sennett's original bathing beauties. Can you believe that? You know, the bathing beauties, you may have seen the silent movies where they were all dressed up in neck to knee thing. She was one of those. She became Australia's first war correspondent in World War II. And she was a radio legend. And she died in 1985 at the age of 95. She will always have my respect. Yes. The dates for today. Have we got a song?
I'll find something, yes. I haven't sort of picked out which one yet. But,
all right, bless you. Bless you. Flinders University opened in South Australia on this day in 1966. Johnny Cash recorded Ring of Fire. That's a good song. Written by his wife, by the way. Hamlet became the first British film to win the Academy Award for the Best Film in 1947. That would have been the one with Laurence Olivier, I would think. I would imagine. Cliff Richard recorded Please Don't Tease. That's a good song. Please don't tease, don't tease, don't tease. It became his third #1 hit in the UK on this day in 1960. What else can I tell you about the day? Australian immigrant's friend Caroline Chisholm died in London. She was the female face on the original $5 note. On this day in 1877, she died in London. Noel Coward died in 1973. What else can I tell you about the day? Am I running out of time, Pete?
Yes.
Yes. Sir Tristan Antico was born, Australian businessman, very successful man. Sir Tristan, 1923 he was born. Aretha Franklin was born in 42. Bernard King was born in 1935. Now there was an Australian media character. I don't know, he did Pot of Gold and he did a very early version of those talent shows. Whatever it wasn't the Gong Show, it wasn't Red Faces. Do you remember, Pete?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Yes, he was a very cruel, he made his name out of being a very cruel judge, and he would take aspiring talents and make them cry. Oh, God. Anyway. Oh, committal hearing against Mr. Justice Murphy of the High Court. He was a judge of the High Court. Lionel Murphy, former Attorney General in the Whitlam government, on 2 charges of attempting to pervert the course of justice in relation to a case involving a Sydney solicitor, starts in Sydney. Oh, God, I remember that. 1985 was the year, and he did go to jail. Dear, oh dear. Johnny Burnett was born. He had some great songs in 1934. Simone Signoret, French movie actress. She was born in 1921, and a beautiful woman as well. David Lean, director of Passage to India and all sorts of other great movies. He was born in 1908. Anita Bryant. Whoa! Born in Oklahoma, pop singer in the 50s and 60s. More recently, controversial character campaigning against homosexuality. Got herself into a lot of trouble, banned in a few states of America. But Anita Bryant, very, very, I think, great talent. Elton John was born 1947. And in Honolulu, Elvis Presley made his last live concert appearance until the end of the decade. Didn't come back for 10 years. That was in 61, right at the beginning of his career. Anyway, if it's a day you celebrate for any reason at all, hope it's going to be a wonderful day. Now settle back and enjoy a musical interlude that has been chosen by Peter Clayton. And I think if it's not going to be tomorrow, it'll be Wednesday. He has a new song, don't you?
Yes, it's a new song I've just recorded. I've just got to touch it up a bit.
Okay. Well, look forward to that. This has been Jeremy Cordeaux, Peter Clayton behind the camera, the Court of Public Opinion. Believe in yourself, and we'll see you tomorrow.
It's all about love and a love for the land, looking out to the bay, sweet Georgia Bay, waking up to the sound of the jungle fire. It is paradise, it's where we belong. North wind coming in my way, Jomula Latina. Papa nile maro ini modella qui kinawa wangana gamil mipa nakarangalo
Ladies and gentlemen, you're mine.